I wanted to say whoever wrote the song that was in 5, that's my favorite member of the band. That's it. Like, yeah, that's like any song. As soon as I heard the beat, I'm like, yeah, there, we did it. We did it. It's 5. Well done.
Thank you.
Where did that come from? I'm curious.
Honestly, I listen to a lot of like prog rock and math rock, and being like Young and I went to school together, and we love a good odd time signature. So I think part of it I think was me wanting to be unique in my songwriting a little bit and do something a little different, but part of it also was like from my own influence of like listening to like Covet and listening to like, you know, Animals as Leaders, like groups that really messed with the time signature, and figuring out how to fit that into my own stuff.
Yeah, it's nice when it happens, because sometimes I find, because I'm also a prog guy, so when I'm writing, sometimes I want to try and write something in an odd time signature, and it always feels that way. But it's nice when it accidentally happens. You're like, 11, nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and so for obviously like being a trained drummer as well, like that was no problem, easy to come across.
Well, it was super easy because Danielle's also a great drum set player, so she was just like, "Try this, do do da do da do do da do da," and I was like, "Oh, so easy, such a well written drum part." Yeah.
But Young also is a great drum set player and has developed their own sound and voice over the past couple of years, I'd say, especially playing in the band. And so every once in a while, like when we perform this, I feel like you come out with like a new fill. You come out with something new that really brings new life into the song. And I remember like at a past performance, I think this past summer, I like literally had to look back and be like, and I like almost missed my cue for the next part because I was just so blown away like by what you did. Yeah.
Thanks. Sometimes I feel like I'm flailing back there. Sometimes I feel like I'm succeeding. Yeah. But yeah, I think when I got asked to be in Tiger Balm, the band had already been around for a couple years, and I was finishing up my master's at NYU, and in classical percussion, which is very different from like a drum set schooling, or going to like a jazz school kind of thing. And Danielle was like, "When you get back to Toronto, you're gonna be in this band now." And I was like, "Oh, great, okay." And then she was like, "You're gonna play drum set," and I was like, "Oh, okay, great." And at that point, I had really only played, like, I would play along to like ABBA Gold, like every day, because I love like that kind of just uppity, repetitive pop drumming. But I was like, oh, I really have to like work on, like, figure out how to improvise and also like compose on the drums, because I think that's was really needed in Tiger Balm. And then for the first few years, I've just felt this like deep insecurity around playing drum set, actually, because I had not had formal training on it, but had all these other like musical skills. And then so I really appreciate that compliment about developing a personal voice. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I hear it too, actually, in a lot of your songs. You know, a lot of times, obviously, the other songs aren't in 5; they're in 4, and in more traditional time signatures. And it's really interesting to hear your drum beats, because you could have just easily done a 4 on the floor, but you don't, and it really feels like you're, I don't know, composing something.
Yeah, I think when people talk about drum influences, often they name like specific drummers that they like to emulate, like Steve Gadd or like Larnell Lewis, like all these great drummers. And I think that that's a great way to learn, is like to emulate people. But for me, I find like I have those people for myself as well, but I find myself like drawn to music where the drums are really a supportive voice, or like, and playing mostly orchestral percussion or like contemporary percussion. I find that I'm just in a lot of support roles where I join the orchestra or join the ensemble as a texture, sometimes a timekeeper, sometimes a groover, but often as a texture. And I think that in order to highlight the harmonies and the lushness of the rest of the band, sometimes the drums need to be out of the way. Sometimes it just needs to be a cymbal swell or something. And I think that we'll hear a little more of that on the next album as I contribute some instrumental tracks. Yeah.
Are we doing any, when you play live, are there any drum solo moments?
There at the start of Saving Face, I do a short drum intro, and then yeah, play a bunch of fills everywhere. Yeah, to push the music along.
Nice.
We did do a residency a couple years ago, an 8-month residency, where we each came out of the residency with a new song. And it was really daunting for me because I'd never written music with lyrics, and I kind of didn't write music at all. But I brought to the group a song that was based out of improvisation and free improvisation, and led us through a few instrumental improvisation games and exercises. Um, and I think we all really enjoyed that as a very different process to writing music. And so in our upcoming album, I'll be writing a few instrumental interludes for us, which will feature drums and all the instruments in Tiger Balm. But I'm hoping to bring also some found sounds and other percussion instruments that I play and really enjoy. Yeah.
Do you remember any of the games that you played, the improvisational games?
I think I brought a few instruments, like pieces of paper or like sand blocks, or I think one of them was like pouring rice into jars, maybe.
I distinctly remember steak knives and wine glasses.
Right, and just like finding sounds from everyday objects, but using and only playing those one sounds and listening to how they could blend or contrast with each other. So it sounds very like hippy dippy, like everyone close your eyes and listen deeply to the sound of the wine glass. But it does like attune your ear to something different. And these ideas they're not radical or new. Like they come from John Cage and Pauline Oliveros, like very established, kind of like vanguards in listening and vanguards in improvisation, which are like huge influences for me. So yeah, trying to bring some of that attunement to Tiger Balm. And I think that, um, yeah, I was so moved that everyone took it really seriously, and I think people had a really good time. Yeah, Anda afterwards was like, "Oh, I really got it. Like, I really understand what draws you to improvisation and performing in that way." Um, and she's since played a couple of free improv gigs that she's loved. Yeah.
I've been like listening to the sounds of the streets and trying to figure out what the pitches are. Now I don't have like, I don't know what the note is, but I'm trying to like listen to say like the sound of a car and the sound of like a streetcar and be like, are these notes in tune? I'm trying to like figure it out. Is that kind of along the same lines as like the wine glass, like listening actually to like what that pitch is and the timbre and all that?
Yeah, totally. It's both like the physical act of listening and parsing the sounds that we're hearing to something intelligible for us, but also a big tenet of deep listening is attuning to an environment or attuning to a space. So, like what you're doing with the streetcars and recognizing that and organizing noise for yourself as intelligible sound and understanding your own place within the soundscape. So yeah, that's totally overlapping.
Is this what you're doing for your masters? Is this a part of it?
Actually, so I finished my master's in 2019, and in my master's, I played a lot of like bing bang boom music.
What does that mean?
Really intensely, like highly rhythmic, fast, like contemporary percussion music. So if you're interested in any of this music, I would recommend you listen to like Third Coast Percussion or Sandbox Percussion, or like it's like usually like four very muscular guys playing metal pipes really fast or something. So that was like the music that I was trained on. But
Great description, by the way.
yeah. But that training, I think, gave me a foundational vocabulary around timbre, like listening to the sound of a metal sheet or a metal pipe and being like, oh, I understand where that fits in to music, or how that would interact with a vibraphone, say, or even a guitar. And yeah, just being able to look at things and be like, well, I can audiate that. And I can understand that as a sound that can contribute to music and not just a sound that I ignore or a sound in the background.
Yeah, I love that. Anyway, sorry, I realized later on in my musical career that I should have been a percussionist. That's like, I play guitar because I have to, but like percussion is like really where my world is.
It's not too late, Russ.
There's a drum kit right there.
Exactly.
That's after this. I'm going for it.
Also, I feel like with guitar playing, you're kind of already, you're a little bit there, because I feel like with the right hand, there's so much percussive potential already. Like, I don't know if you've heard of Marcin.
Marcin.
Okay, he's this like Polish Gen Z guitar like TikTok star, but also like an incredible musician, and he's really big on the percussive like fingerstyle guitar
Yeah.
playing. So like, I mean, you're halfway there basically.